All right, so we're going to dive into some pretty fascinating ideas today about choices.
Choices.
Yeah, especially the choices we make about our careers, all that good stuff.
Right.
You've given us some really, really interesting material to work with here.
Yeah.
We've got stories about people finding their passion and then actually like getting the courage to go after it.
Yes.
And then building a life that's not only exciting, but also makes them proud.
I think one of the most intriguing things is that, we always hear like, just take the leap and follow your dream. But I feel like these sources kind of go a little deeper than that.
Yeah.
It's more about this tension that exists between security and ambition.
Right.
And they even explore, what pride really is.
Like, what is pride really?
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's unpack some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So one of the sources tells this story about someone who works at, a big fancy financial firm in New York City.
Oh, wow.
The kind of job that, I think a lot of people would be envious of.
Sure.
And this person has this idea for a business. It's like an entrepreneurial idea, and they go to their boss with it.
Okay.
What's interesting is how the boss responds.
Oh, really?
So instead of just saying like, oh, that's a dumb idea, you're crazy, or whatever,
Right.
the boss basically says that starting a company is for people who don't already have like a good job.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
So it's like if you don't have something to fall back on,
Exactly.
that's when you kind of take that risk.
Yeah, so like the safe route is expected, even if it means giving up on a dream.
Right, like play it safe.
Yeah.
Don't rock the boat.
It makes you wonder, like, how many great ideas are out there
Oh, yeah.
that never even see the light of day
Absolutely.
because people are so afraid to, like, give up
Just stability.
the stability,
The good job.
the good job.
Yeah, definitely.
But then there's this other source
Okay.
that throws in this crazy anecdote about a 26-year-old
Okay.
who just comes out and says, I'm going to be the richest man in the world
Oh.
with my internet bookstore.
Bold statement.
Yeah, and this is like back when nobody was thinking about the internet.
It was like the Wild West of the internet back then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine thinking about a multi-billion-dollar company
I know.
coming out of somebody's garage?
Yeah, people probably thought he was crazy.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, this 26-year-old was.
Yeah, who was it?
Jeff Bezos,
Of course. Yeah.
founder of Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
But here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
The source isn't just like, oh, look, he's so successful. It's like, what allowed him to have that vision,
Right.
and to keep believing in it when everybody else was like,
You're nuts.
this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
The internet, what are you talking about?
Right, exactly.
So it wasn't just blind faith, obviously.
Right.
I mean, Bezos is known for like using data
Yeah, data-driven decision.
and, really strategic thinking.
Right.
But he also had this ability to kind of see
The potential.
what the internet could be
Yeah.
before most people.
Like connect the dots in a way that most people just weren't seeing yet.
Exactly. So it's
Yeah.
like this mix of believing in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
having a plan,
Yeah.
and then also being willing to embrace something
Yeah.
that other people might think is,
Totally bonkers.
just totally crazy.
Right.
And this idea of taking the leap, even if it means, facing uncertainty,
Yeah.
comes up again in another source
Okay.
where the speaker talks about leaving their own
Their own safe career.
safe career path
Yeah.
to follow their passion.
Yeah.
And they admit it wasn't an easy choice.
Of course not. No.
There were doubts and anxieties
Right.
and the very real possibility of failing.
Sure.
But they also say that, the bigger risk might be never trying at all.
Ooh.
And like living with that regret.
Right. Like, what if?
What if?
Yeah.
It's like a reminder that growth often happens outside our comfort zones, right?
Totally. You got to push those boundaries to see what you're really made of.
Yeah, you got to be willing to kind of go out there and see what you can do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mhm.
Push yourself. And that makes me think about this other source that talks about, like real success doesn't just happen overnight.
Right. It's not like magic.
Yeah, it's usually the result of, like putting in the work day after day.
Consistency and patience.
Exactly. Being patient and, like you were saying, consistent effort.
Oh, and there's this great phrase that they use in the military that I absolutely love.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
It's slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's super interesting. It seems counterintuitive at first.
Yeah, because you think fast is better.
Right.
Right.
But it's really about mastering the fundamentals and like building a solid foundation.
So it's like taking your time to really get it right.
Yeah, and not trying to cut corners.
No shortcuts.
And that actually connects really well with this other concept from the sources.
Okay.
This one really resonated with me. It's the idea that real pride doesn't come from the talents we're born with.
Oh, interesting.
It comes from the choices we make.
Like how we decide to use those talents.
Exactly. So anyone can be proud of, their natural abilities.
Sure, we all have our gifts.
Yeah, but it's the effort we put in.
Right, the hard work.
Yeah, and how we choose to use those gifts to overcome obstacles.
The choices we make along the way, that's where the real pride is.
Mm-hmm. So it's not about bragging about being good at something.
No, it's about acknowledging the work it took to get there.
Yeah, and the discipline and the dedication.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes me wonder, what are some of the choices you've made?
Yeah, that you're really proud of.
Yeah, thinking about you, the listener. What are some things you've done that you're like, yeah, I'm really proud of that?
What challenges did you face and how did you overcome them?
Mm-hmm. Because it really forces us to think about, what we're doing with our lives.
Right. It's not just about what we're good at. It's about what we do with those gifts.
Yeah, and that actually leads us to this other really thought-provoking question.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued.
From one of the sources.
Lay it on me.
Okay, so they ask, when you look back on your life, would you be more proud of a life of comfort and security?
Okay.
Or a life full of service, adventure, and maybe even a little bit of risk?
Wow. That's a tough one.
It is, right?
Which path will you choose, the safe one or the adventurous one?
It's like a fork in the road.
Yeah, which way will you go?
And there's no right answer, obviously.
Right. Of course not.
It really depends on your values and what you want out of life.
Yeah, what's important to you.
But it's definitely something to think about.
Absolutely.
Especially these days when we have so many choices and so many
I
opportunities.
feel like you're living in this amazing time.
Yeah, and one of the sources is super pumped about all the possibilities.
Oh, really?
They describe our current era as overflowing with inspiration.
Wow.
And change and opportunity.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's we're in this incredible moment.
Right.
And it's up to us to decide how we want to be a part of it.
So what are we going to do with all this opportunity?
Exactly, and that's where the sources really challenge us.
Okay, how so?
They don't just say, oh, follow your dreams.
Right.
They hint us with this series of really thought-provoking questions.
Ooh, like a call to action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one that really stood out to me was,
Right.
Will inertia be your guide or will you follow your passions?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's are you just going to let life happen to you?
Or are you going to grab the reins?
Yeah, are you going to take control?
Yeah, take charge.
And speaking of choices,
Yeah.
there's another question that I thought was super interesting.
Okay, what is it?
It's, will you follow dogma or will you be original?
Ooh, that's a challenge. To break free from the norm.
Yeah, to be your own person.
Embrace your unique perspective.
And create something new.
Yeah, something truly authentic.
But that takes courage.
Right? Oh, absolutely.
Because you might face criticism.
Yeah, people might not get it.
You might get rejected.
Right, but you got to be brave enough to stand out.
Exactly. And that leads us to another question from the sources.
All right, I'm ready. Will you wilt under criticism or will you follow your convictions?
We all face criticism at some point.
Oh, yeah.
It's inevitable.
But the question is, how do we respond?
Yeah, do we let it stop us in our tracks or do we use it as fuel to keep going?
I think it's about trusting your gut and believing in your vision.
Yeah, even when other people might not see it.
Yeah, even when they doubt you.
You got to believe in yourself.
And that ties in really closely with this other question that I found really powerful.
Okay, what is it?
It's, will you bluff it out when you're wrong or will you apologize?
It's so tempting to try to save face when we mess up.
Oh, totally. It's like our ego wants to protect us.
Right, but I think there's more strength in admitting when we're wrong.
Yeah, and learning from our mistakes.
And moving forward with humility.
It's about being honest with ourselves and with others.
Exactly, building trust and integrity.
Which actually brings us to another question that I thought was really interesting.
All right, let's hear it.
It's about vulnerability.
Will you guard your heart against rejection? Or will you act when you fall in love?
Oh, wow, that's deep.
It is, right?
It's about taking a chance on love even though it might hurt.
Yeah, it's risky.
But the rewards can be amazing.
Exactly.
It's deep connection and intimacy.
Yeah, it's about embracing the full range of human emotion.
Even the tough stuff.
Even the heartbreak.
Yeah, it's all part of the journey. It's not about being weak. It's about being strong enough to let people in.
Yeah.
You know?
And speaking of connection,
Yeah.
one of the sources talks about how important it is to use our
talents.
our talents and our passions
Yeah.
to make a positive impact on the world.
To make things better.
Yeah, to leave things better than we found them.
Right.
And it's this really beautiful idea that every time we empower someone else
Yeah.
or help them be more creative or reach their potential,
Mhm.
we're creating something really special.
Like a ripple effect.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Uh,
our choices and our actions have this ripple effect, and we can make a real difference in people's lives.
It's not just about us, it's about everyone around us.
Yeah. And that brings us back to that idea of pride.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about bragging about what we're good at.
No, it's about using those gifts to do something good,
Exactly. To make a contribution to something bigger than ourselves.
to leave the world a better place.
Yeah, to leave the world a little brighter, a little kinder.
A little more beautiful.
Yeah. And you know, as we've been talking about all these ideas about choices and passion and building a life we can be proud of,
Yeah.
I've noticed this theme.
Oh, what's that?
It's this sense of agency.
Like, we have the power to make a difference.
Yeah, it's like realizing that we're not just passengers on this ride.
Right, we're the drivers.
We get to choose the direction.
We're in control.
And I think that's a really powerful idea.
It is.
And it's something that these sources really emphasize.
Yeah, they're like a wake-up call.
They're like, hey, you have the power to shape your own life.
Take ownership. Embrace your passions. Make choices that align with your values.
And even though the path might be, a little bumpy sometimes,
Sure, life's not always easy.
there might be setbacks, there might be challenges.
But those are the moments that make us stronger.
Yeah, it's all part of the journey.
It's where the growth happens.
And that's where the real fulfillment is.
Absolutely. It's about embracing the unknown.
Yeah.
And stepping outside of our comfort zones and daring to live a life that's both meaningful and exciting.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave you, the listener, with one final thought.
Okay.
Remember that life is a tapestry.
A tapestry.
Yeah, woven from the choices that we make
Each and every day.
every single day. So what will your choices say about you?
What story will they tell?
It's something to think about.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we are the authors of our own lives. So choose wisely, embrace the adventure, and create a story that you're proud of